Welcome to the American Prepping Academy. I'm JJ Johnson, and today we are going to talk about some security tips for rioting and civil unrest. We've got a lot of stuff going on around the country right now. It's getting a little bit crazy, and my best advice for you is that don't travel, don't go out when these riots are happening in your area unless you really have to. Avoidance is probably the best policy overall. But sometimes you have to travel. Sometimes you got to do things. Life has to go on, and we've got to press on. And so I understand that. So with that, I'm going to talk a little bit about some things to do for vehicle travel, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about at home as well. And I put this together pretty quick because I wanted it to be timely, and so that's why we don't have the slides and stuff like that with it. But hopefully you'll still get some value of it, and I will still put the notes that I use to create this down, in the downloadable section so that you can have those as well. So, if you're forced to travel, having a large truck with, bigger bumpers, bigger tires, and those kinds of things may offer a little advantage in getting through a crowd. But it's also going to raise your profile. It's going to make you more likely to be attacked. And so this is a double-edged sword. A smaller, more low-profile car might get through unnoticed, but you're at a greater risk of being pulled from the vehicle and pulled into the crowd. It's when windows are, down lower, they're easier to break. It's easier to pull people from a vehicle, when it's down low. If it's up higher, it's more difficult to get people out of. Bigger truck has more weight, more traction, all those kinds of things, more horsepower. You got a larger and wider, tire footprint, so you can push through if you need to. It's a scary situation having to deal with this stuff. When you do encounter, or when you're driving and you encounter a mob, try to turn off on a side street before you get to it, if that's possible. If you can take an alternate route, avoidance is best. If you cannot turn down a side street, consider making a U-turn and going back the other way. Jump lanes of traffic and just go the other way. If that's not an option, then try to move to the shoulder and reverse out. Put your flashers on and reverse out on the shoulder if you've got that. Again, we're trying to look for ways to avoid the situation if we can. But if we must go through, make sure that your windows are rolled up, doors are locked, seatbelts are on, and you want to have your pepper spray and your firearm readily accessible and ready to go. I would even recommend having each person who's old enough to have a weapon or at least a non-lethal option with them ready to use. That way, if windows do get busted and people start putting hands on them and start attacking them, they can defend themselves. Again, age appropriate. Okay, if avoidance is not possible and you must drive through, here's the key thing. Do not stop. Let me say that again. Do not stop in a crowd of people. No matter what, do not stop. Make sure that the vehicle keeps rolling, even if you slow down so that you don't, hit anyone hard or anything like that. Keep the vehicle moving through the crowd. If you stop, you're in a very dangerous situation here, especially with an excited crowd, and the chances of you getting hurt or injured or something like that are pretty darn high. So you got to use your best judgment, but my recommendation is keep the vehicle moving forward and through the crowd. People will move, and you got to also recognize that they could try to use tactics and saying things to make you think that you need to stop, like, oh, you're running over him or something like that. Well, you may be, and if that's the case, it's up to you to decide what you're going to do. But if I'm in a situation like that and I feel like I'm fearing for my life, then I'm probably not going to stop. So just think about that. Okay. Make sure you're honking your horn as you're going through. Make sure you're, if you keep moving, make sure you're honking your horn. Make sure, your flashers are on and all that kind of stuff. If the car is stopped, try to immediately back out if there is no other traffic in your way. If the car is stopped and the windows are broken, I would use a large bottle of pepper spray I think Fox makes a pretty good size, like a riot size pepper spray one. I would try to spray people, and get them cleared out of the area and get the car moving again. You got to be careful though, because you're putting your arm out the window or something. People are going to grab it. They may end up using it on you. So this could be dangerous, and maybe it might be advantageous to have a gas mask with you or something like that too. It's just terrible to think that this is kind of what stuff has come to, but we gotta be thinking about the what if. We gotta be thinking about what we're gonna do, how we're gonna use this. So if the pepper spray doesn't work, then you may need to brandish your firearm and tell people to get back, or you'll shoot them. Maybe that'll get them to move back enough so that you can get the car going again, hopefully. If you and your family are being drugged from the car, you're going to have to defend yourself, as best you can, because your life is in danger, and it would be in danger. If you decide, for whatever reason, that you have to bail out of the car, my recommendation would be to try to get all the family members to come out one door. That way you all come out right there together, and probably the father's door, so that he can try to push people back and make space for the rest of the family to come out. And then you move as a group together through the crowd to get away. Hopefully they just want to destroy your car and they'll leave you guys alone. It's hard to say, but going out all four doors is not probably a good option, because then you're going to be separated in the crowd. Okay. All right, so let's just talk about at home, if you're at home. Again, avoidance is the best solution here. If you know that riots are spreading to your area, consider bugging out. This is probably going to be a short-term event. You take your bug-out gear and your family, go to a hotel a couple of hours away, and wait it out. If you choose not to leave, at least be ready to go and have everything packed up, so that if you do have to leave, you can do it in a moment's notice and you can be out of there. Before you go, take a video of your home and all of its contents. Before you leave, if you have time, this is going to help you with the insurance claim if your home is destroyed or burned or something like that. Go ahead, and I would suggest leaving some lights on in the home so it looks occupied. My feeling is that unoccupied homes are probably going to be more likely targets for destruction. Consider, this is something I thought of putting this together, and I don't know if it'd work or not, but maybe having some Obama stickers or Black Lives Matter signs or something like that to put in your front windows may make people think that you're on their side, and that you're kind of, people shouldn't mess up your house. I'm not sure that that's really going to work, but you definitely want to take down any thin blue line stickers or Gadsden flags flying in the front yard or anything like that, because that will make you a target for sure. If you're unable to leave or you're unwilling to leave, then you need to try to identify others who will assist you in keeping the whole neighborhood safe. One person trying to fend off a whole mob is not tactically advantageous. 5 or 6 very well armed people, and more is better than 5 or 6, at the entrance of your neighborhood may be able to deter a mob from coming into your neighborhood. But the potential for violence here is extremely high. You need to be well versed in your laws, in your state's self-defense laws. You could consider using vehicles to block the streets and to provide some concealment. It's not really cover in certain areas, but a lot of vehicles are just concealment. And this is going to give some distance between you and the rioters. Kind of keep things maybe cooled off a little bit if you can, depending on the way your neighborhood's structured and all that kind of stuff. If you do use vehicles to block the streets, make sure you use older vehicles and vehicles that are insured, because the chances that they'll get damaged is quite high. You want to have fallback locations pre-identified, so that if you're forced to move back, you can do so and kind of regroup several times before you actually get to your house or to your home. This is a terrible situation, right? I'm going through this and I'm trying to think mentally of the situation and how this would go, and it's a horrible one. But you have a right to defend your castle, and so stuff like this might be necessary. I don't know. We need to at least be thinking about it. So Okay, so if you are forced to go it alone, then you're likely just going to have to focus on saving your property. The idea that you can keep them from coming into a whole neighborhood by yourself is probably not attainable. I would definitely put signs out in your yard that say looters will be shot, and you got to be ready to back that up. Unfortunately. Sitting on the porch in a rocking chair, buck naked, with an AR-16 wearing, or AR-15 wearing a raccoon skin cap might be the way to go. Nobody challenges the crazy naked guy. No, I'm just teasing here, but seriously, you need to have your full kit. You need to be ready to go. You need to identify good places of cover, and essentially be ready for war. This is a terribly dangerous situation. The likelihood of a positive outcome is very low. If you appear serious and authoritative in your commands, you're well armed, and it might be possible that they'll skip you over. We have seen that in some businesses. They're, business owners are armed and they're out there and they're like, hey, you need to keep moving. And sometimes they do. Just realize that the potential for bad things happening is very high. Okay, like I've said before in videos, defending your home against 6 to 8 or maybe even 10 attackers is possible, especially if you have your home hardened with sandbags and different things of that nature. But defending it from 200 attackers is very unlikely. A big mob like that is not going to happen probably. So you need to have your vehicle ready to go. You need to have your stuff packed. You need to be ready to leave and bug out if you have to. So anyway, guys, I hope this has given you some things to think about. It's just kind of a real quick thing that I wanted to throw together because of all that's happening right now. So be thinking about it. Have your bug out bags ready to go. Have your your level 4 and your plate carrier and all your gear ready to go, because you might need to use it. If you live in a highly populated metropolitan area, might be time to think maybe you should move. This is why I don't live in city areas right now, is because of the potential risk for these kinds of things to happen. And so sometimes you have to, and I get that, but life's all about choices. So anyway, guys, I hope this has been useful. If you got any questions, put them in the comments below. I'll put these notes down in the downloadable section so that you can download them and look through them as well if you want. Stay safe, and we'll see you on another video here shortly.